Welcome to the Creators MBA podcast, your go-to resource for mastering the art and science of digital product entrepreneurship. My name is Dr. Destiny Kopp, and I help business owners generate consistent revenue from their digital product business without the need to be glued to their desk, constantly live launching, or worrying about the social media algorithms. I hope you enjoy our episode today. Hi there, Destiny here, and welcome back to the Creators MBA podcast. I'm super excited that you are spending this time with me. And lately, I have been thinking about why newsletters feel so frustrating for so many smart, capable online business owners. And I'm not talking about beginners. I'm not talking about people who are just getting started, but people who are doing the work. They're sending out the emails consistently, and they're still not seeing the kind of results that make the effort feel justified. And here's the part that matters. The problem isn't that newsletters stopped working, it's that the rules have changed just a little bit over time. And at the same time, I have been paying very close attention to what's been happening in the broader newsletter ecosystem, and especially after reading the State of Newsletter 2026 report that just came out this week from Beehive. What struck me is that these two things are very deeply connected because on one hand, the data shows that newsletters are healthier than ever. Revenue is up, engagement is up, and monetization is happening faster than it used to. But on the other hand, a lot of individual creators are still struggling to make newsletters work for them in a way that feels predictable and intentional. So today, I want to bridge that gap. I want to talk about what's actually changing in the newsletter landscape, why email is quietly becoming the most stable center of the creator economy, and how misunderstanding this shift is exactly why so many newsletters still aren't making money, even when that business owner is doing almost everything. So let's talk about the big picture and what the data actually says. So the State of Newsletters 2026 report, and this came out from Beehive, and I'm going to actually link to it in the show notes so you can check it out yourself. This report made something very clear. Email is no longer just a marketing channel. For all of us, and I'm talking about solopreneurs out there, creators, service provider, coaches, it is a business model in its own right. And while social media platforms spent the last year dealing with algorithm changes, AI curated feeds, traffic volatility, newsletters quietly became the most stable place to build an audience you actually own. And the report describes newsletters evolving from simple email updates into what it calls multi-channel media hub anchored in the inbox. I love that. Multi-channel media hubs that are anchored in the inbox. And that language is what matters, because what this tells us is that the inbox is no longer a traffic source. It's the operating system of your business. It's where your content lives. It's where your products are sold. It's where communities form. And it's where your podcast, your events, your experiences all connect back to one central place. And even independent creators are no longer operating with a single weekly email. They're building these ecosystems, and the inbox is the anchor. And this shift is driven largely by ownership. Because after watching reach disappear overnight on social media platforms, business owners started to prioritize permission-based relationships. And email is predictable in a way that social media simply isn't. And the Beehive report also highlights a move towards consolidation. So business owners are simplifying their tech stacks and they're doing more from one core system instead of spreading kind of their energy across these disconnected tools and platform. And I think all of this does set the stage for what comes next. Now, for a long time, newsletters and emails that you were sending out were treated like digital megaphones. You stood on the box, you shouted out your message, and you hoped that someone was listening to you. But I do think that the 2026 model looks much more like building a digital coffee shop. Now, stay with me because I'm going to walk you through this. Now, in this model, the newsletter is the shop itself. It's the space you own and control. It's not like a social media feed that can change overnight. I would describe the content like the coffee. It needs to be high quality, intentional, and human enough that people actually want to come back. So when you think about like Starbucks, right? They have really good coffee. I want to come back to Starbucks because I love their coffee, and it is the community is the point. It's not a one-way publishing platform anymore. Your newsletter is like hospitality. It's the interaction. It's like treating readers like participants and not passive email subscribers. And then your products and your services are the premium offerings. That's the merchandise and the experience your most loyal readers are happy to invest in. And I do think that AI plays a role here. I equate it to the barista machine. It automates the repetitive work so you can spend your time doing only what you can do, which is that thinking, the connecting, and leading. And all of this lines up with what that report emphasized, which was moving away from one-way publishing towards engagement, community, and participation. And here's a quote from the report. It's from Michael Kaufman, and I do think a lot of this captures this perfectly. He says, there is a difference between service and hospitality. There's a difference between doing something and doing something because you care. And I do think that distinction explains a lot of what we are seeing right now. And I want to connect all of this back to a frustration that I know so many of you feel. And I think most newsletters aren't failing because of bad writing, lack of effort, or inconsistency. They are stalling because they are being run like megaphones in a world that now rewards coffee shops. And here's what this looks like in practice. You send thoughtful emails. You share valuable ideas, but selling still feels awkward. Promotions may feel disruptive, and you can't confidently answer what your newsletter is supposed to do this month, because most creators plan newsletters around content, and very few of them plan them around revenue. That doesn't mean that they don't have offers. It means that those offers aren't intentionally mapped into the newsletter in a way that makes sense over time. So the results feel inconsistent and they just lose their confidence, right? I have been there myself. For years, I followed that standard advice. I sent out the weekly newsletters, and they were helpful and well written. Sometimes things sold, and it made me think I was on the right track, but nothing was predictable. Nothing I could plan around, nothing I could intentionally repeat. And that disconnect bothered me. So when I started studying newsletters that consistently made money across different industries, the difference wasn't clever copy or more personality. It was planning. The people behind those newsletters weren't deciding what to send one email at a time. They were deciding what to do for the next quarter and how that all tied into their overall revenue strategy. And this shift changed everything, because when you stop planning one email at a time and you start planning intentionally, and I like to do it each quarter at a time, the question changes. So instead of asking, what should I send this week? You start asking, what role does this email play in the bigger system? And some emails are designed to educate and build trust. Others are designed to sell. Some prepare your audience for what's coming next. And none of this is wrong. The problem is you don't know which is which. And a 90-day plan gives your newsletter context. It gives you confidence. It removes the weekly decision fatigue that makes newsletters feel heavier than they should. And the data in this report backs this up. This report showed that niche creators drove 138% jump in paid subscription revenue last year. The median time to earning the first dollar just dropped to 66 days, and open rates have increased to 41%. People are reading emails and they are buying, but they're responding to intention, not just noise that is thrown out there. So what all do you do with this? First, I think the report made these 3 things clear. First, niche expertise wins. Generalist newsletters are struggling. Identity-driven and passion-driven niches, which is what we are all doing here, are seeing higher engagement and stronger revenue. Second, automation is leverage, not a shortcut. Most newsletters still use almost no automation. So automating your welcome flows and your re-engagement sequences free up time for you. And I do think that AI should support all of this, but it should not replace your voice. Third, community beats audience. A smaller group of readers who reply, participate, and stick around often performs a massive passive email list. Newsletters work best when they're treated like systems, not random emails that you are throwing out there. And that is exactly why we are approaching the Newsletter Profit Club differently this year. Everything that we cover in the Newsletter Profit Club is designed to build a repeatable newsletter system, one that supports revenue without burning out your audience or yourself. And our first members-only workshop focuses on building a clear 90-day newsletter plan, not just content ideas, but a plan that intentionally connects what you send out to how your business makes money. From there, we layer in monetization systems that feel very natural and not forced, automation that reduces friction without taking away your voice and your personality. We also layer in growth strategies that support your buyers, or the support buyers, getting buyers onto your email list, not just subscribers. And that's very important. And then we cover the decision frameworks that help you know what to send and what to skip. If you have a newsletter that you are sending out consistently and you want it to feel intentional instead of reactive, this is the work that fixes. Email isn't dying. It's not going away. It is evolving. And when newsletters don't make money, it's rarely because the business owner isn't trying hard enough. It's almost always because the newsletter was never designed as a system in the first place. Structure is learnable, and definitely I would say planning is powerful. And the inbox is still one of the most stable places you can build a business in 2026. Thanks for listening. I'll see you in the next episode, and I will include all of the links for the Beehive Report and give you more information about the Newsletter Profit Club in the podcast show notes. Bye for now. Thanks for listening all the way to the end. I hope you enjoyed this episode today. If you love the show, I'd appreciate a review on Apple Podcasts or your favorite podcast platform. Have a great rest of your day, and bye for now.